Again to. Okay. I can't. Like. Far. It throws. Yeah. Yeah, baby. TGS prop. Depending. Oh, yeah. In-depth evaluation. Prop. Nice. Going fast. 3S. Oh yeah. 8 kilohertz on the as I'm pushing the speed up. Victory roll. Okay, we'll show off here. Dead stick. Hi everyone, welcome to another table talk. I thought I'd throw in my my greatest passes, greatest hits, greatest misses, or whatever from last year, because probably about 90%, 80 to 90% of those passes were all with the GepRC 2306 2750 kV motor, which if you followed my channel for any length of time is without a doubt my favorite motor that I run in my park jets right now. So I was actually looking back through the archives, and my very first test flight that I did with this motor was in April of 2018. So I've been using it for quite a while, literally hundreds of flights on several of them. I think all the park jets in my hangar now, other than when I'm swapping out to test motors, are all pretty much the GepRC 2306 2750 motor. I just love it. So anyway, I did discover it, as I've said. I discovered it actually through Engineer X's YouTube channel. I'll have a link to his YouTube channel down below. He's done just gobs and gobs of really awesome testing on quad motors and things like that. You know, it's one of those types of motors. It's not you know, not a whole lot of flash and you know, fancy colors, anything like that. What I really like about it is they seem to just put the money into the money and their effort into the motor, not the colors and the packaging like some other manufacturers do. Just basically comes in a basic cardboard box, you know, with a bag of bolts. You know, very simple packaging, and I appreciate that, because the you know, where the rubber hits the road in how the motor is made and how it's held up for me for well over a year. I'm just super impressed. Now, I don't get any kickbacks from Banggood or anybody else or GearBest. You know, I just know what I like, and it's not the cheapest motor around, and you know, to really get the best power out of it, you know, you're not going to be scrimping on speed controllers either. But anyway, for how I like to fly, it is without a doubt my favorite motor right now anyway. So far I've actually only had one of them burn out on me or stop working properly, and I think that it was caused by my own error. If you've watched some of my videos, I started flying at a new field in Campbell River, and on either side of the cloth runway, or the material runway, is mostly sand and you know, small gravel. I know it's going to be very hard for you to see, but on this stator down at the bottom here, there's about 3 of the arms that are super dark compared to the other ones, and on the outside of the stator here, it's been scraped right through. It's actually kind of shiny for about 2/3 of the way around the motor. And I think what happened there was my first session, I slid off the runway a little bit, and because this is a naked bottom motor, i.e. there's really nothing protecting the bottom of the stator, I think a small amount of debris, like maybe a little bit of sand or something, got in there, and eventually it just something happened, overheated the motor just in one spot, and it started to kind of screech. So anyway, you know, lesson learned there. Do a better job at landing at Campbell River. Stay on the runway and don't suck up any sand or stones. But other than that, the original GepRC motor that I got, I'm running in my F35 version 5 now. I have no idea how many hundreds of flights I've got on there, but it's still running just as strong as the very first day that I used it. Okay, so my favorite, some combinations that you can run if you wanted to experiment with this motor. Well, actually, let me back up. So I get mine primarily from Banggood, although I did order a couple from GearBest when Banggood was out of stock on them for a while. Unfortunately, I just checked today. GearBest doesn't seem to carry them any longer. Did a quick search. AliExpress does carry them, as well as some vendors on eBay. Now, I can't vouch for those vendors, whether you're going to get the original GepRC motor, because I've never purchased from there. But Banggood still carries them, and every once in a while, actually, they go on special where if you buy two, you get some money off. So anyway, that's where I got them. So combinations of speed controllers. Recently, I've been testing with the Turnigy Plush 40 amp. This is actually an old version. It's about 5 years old. Has version 3.1 firmware in it. Run it on high timing. And I've been using my favorite 6-inch prop with this motor, the GemFan Flash 6042 two-blade. Just unbelievable power on 3S, over 1,300 grams of thrust. So all three of these speed controllers on 3S with this motor work just awesome. Now I run custom settings of 22.5 degrees. Timing 24 kilohertz on the Turnigy AE 45 amp, which I'm not sure you're going to ever be able to get anymore. Hobby King seems to have been out of them for months. And the Hobby Wing Platinum Pro, which is probably what I run with this motor the most, with custom settings of 26.25 degrees timing and 8 kilohertz pulse width modulation frequency. One of the main reasons that I run with this, although it's an expensive speed controller, about $40 US, is because I can run this motor on 3S or 4S with no problem whatsoever. I don't need to swap out, and it keeps things light. This is about a 40-something gram speed controller when you put all the hardware on it. The motor with all the hardware and a prop is about 48 grams, so a super light setup there. So there's some speed controllers that you can run. So like I said, on 3S, this is my favorite prop, the GemFan Flash 6042. Sorry, having a bit of a senior moment there. On 4S, when I can, I like to run the 6x3 EMP, TGS, KMP. I get mine from RC Timer. They're a little bit cheaper there. Over 1,700 grams of thrust with that prop. Just unbelievable power. I've also, on my tail mount, FRC Foamies F18 was where I really started to experiment with 3-bladed props, and I run a 3-bladed prop in my RC Powers F35 version 5, a 5-inch 3-bladed prop, just mostly because my experimentation with a 6-blade prop there didn't work out that well. I really am liking, this is the GemFan Hurricane 51499. If I'm just going to run a setup on 3S a lot, this is my favorite prop. Primary reason is I just find that it holds around the mid-throttle range, 50 to 75% throttle. With this motor and any other motor, it just seems to hold the energy better. But for 4S, if I really want a scream, I use this Azure Power 5150 carbon prop, because it's just so stiff. There's no flex to it whatsoever. So on 4S, you're just maximizing. Now with these two props, they're not anywhere near as close to these two props power-wise on 3S or 4S. But depending on if it's a tail mount, for me, I like a 5-inch 3-blade prop to cut down on the torque roll. On 4S, again, the carbon prop. So there we go, folks. That's like I said, I've other than my self-induced buffoonery with a motor here where I burned out a part of the stator and it's not running properly anymore. I've actually taken the bell off, and I'll keep the bell, and, you know, in case, because I've inspected the bell and the magnets actually look just fine so far anyway. So I'll just keep that. So yeah, I can't say good enough. Again, it's not the cheapest motor. It's certainly not the most efficient motor. But if you're looking to set yourself up for some seriously good speed, I've tried and experimented with a multitude of different 2306, 2750 kV motors from several different manufacturers. I would say probably the closest would be the RC InPower GTS 2306 version 2 2750. However, what I have found is that those motors run considerably hotter, especially on 4S. So I don't know what their durability would be. But, you know, I have punished the living daylights out of my GepRC motors, and you know, other than the one that I damaged, they have not let me down. So I hope to. I've got a couple here in my my supply box that you know, I've got as spares, and you know, I might even pick up another one or two if I see them go on sale again. Just, I can't say enough about them. Just an outstanding motor. Very, very pleased with it. So there we go, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Please check out the links down below. I'll have this video will be going in a playlist where I have all my pretty much all my field testing, other table talks that I've done on this motor. You can also find the motor test spreadsheet. Sorry, having another senior moment. Have a drink of water. Maybe my brain's dried out. Excuse me. And also the thread on the RC Powers forum that I maintain, that I've been keeping kind of since I started testing quad motors, ESCs, batteries, props, that sort of thing. So again, yeah, thanks as always for watching. Blue skies, calm winds to everyone. Park jet noise, the other sound of freedom, baby. Take care.